So I'm very happy to welcome on stage the Director of Communications, International Cooperation and Partnership at the Ministry of Investment, Mr. Zakaria Farahat.
Thank you, Uns, for the kind introduction. Welcome everybody to this session about Invest in Morocco. The session we're going to start today, you heard a lot of speeches, so we're going to try and mix that up with the presentation. For the last 20 years, Morocco went on a journey for its economic development. And before starting to bore you with figures and data, I would like first to show you a video, because as you know, images speak louder than words. I think we have an issue with the sound. So upon seeing images like this, I have to say that I'm humbled, but I'm proud, but also I'm ambitious, not only for Morocco, but for the African continent as a whole. As the Minister and Mr. Lalish said, we started our journey 20 years ago, thanks to a vision, the vision of a man, the vision of a king. During these 20 years, we managed to position Morocco as a world-class hub for sustainable investment and trade. This journey also reminded me, when I saw the minister on stage, of something that you said, Excellency, a few weeks ago, and it stuck with me. I quote, "In 20 years, we managed to transform Morocco from a country known to export oranges and tomatoes to a country exporting cars and cutting-edge technology." So what a journey. But how did we manage that? First, we had political stability. This is the most important factor and the cornerstone for any economic development strategy. We've been a kingdom for the last 12 centuries. And as such, Morocco is one of the oldest monarchies in the world. We have sound macroeconomic aggregates. We have a stable economic environment. And above all, what stability, political, what stability on the economical side gives you is predictability. And this is key for any investor. This predictability is also being allowed because you have a continuity in the strategies, in the public policies also, and you have a goal and an objectives. The vision is established by His Majesty the King, and we're navigating towards economic and social prosperity thanks to the continuity in these key strategies and public policies. The second aspect that's very important for Morocco is that when you look at it, since 2009, we've opted for bold strategies, and we've invested massively in renewable energies. As you heard before, we have now 30% of our energy mix that comes from renewable energy. And the target is already set at 52% by 2030. And we are confident, not arrogant, but confident that with the World Cup coming, the African Cup of Nations coming, and our resources, we're going to be able to exceed that goal before. When I'm talking about energy resources, I'd like to show you these two maps. When you look at it, what you see, Morocco is ranked 9th globally when it comes to the annual sunshine level. Morocco is also ranked 31st in the world when it comes to the wind energy field. So it seems like we don't have the best sun. We might not have the best wind. But when you look at it, we have the best combination of both. In Morocco, it's quite unique. Maybe we were blessed by God. But when you look at it, when the sun sets, the wind picks up. So for any investor, you have a continuity when it comes to your energy supply. The second thing is, some people might think we talk the talk, but are we able to walk the walk? So when you look at it, since 2009, we've managed to invest in 50 major projects in the renewable energy fields. The two examples that you have behind you are just two examples, but they're notable. The first one, in the solar energy field, Noor Ouarzazate. This is one of the largest solar plants in the world. And the second one, the Tarfaya wind farm, and I see some colleagues and friends who worked on it when it was just an idea. It's beautiful to see it come to life because it's the second largest, if not the largest, in our continent. So we have the resources, that's nice. We have done our homework, to quote the minister, when it comes to energy and solar. But where are we heading? Everyone is talking now about hydrogen. I think we've heard all the colors of the rainbow when it comes to hydrogen, the gray one, the blue one. But what we believe in is the green energy, the green hydrogen. And I'm not going to dive into this because I have my colleague from Mazen who is going to be expanding on it during the panel. But what I need to say, because we're talking about decarbonizing to thrive, and we're also talking about how can you get the message across to investors. Investors, we said, they look for predictability. A few weeks ago, and Morocco is in the top 6 when it comes to front runners, ranked when it comes to hydrogen. We have the resources, we have everything, alhamdulillah. But what also we have is this predictability. A few weeks ago, we published the green hydrogen offer, where you give all the investors a clear and transparent process. You give them a focal point, Mazen. You give them also information about land availability, and you give them also information about infrastructure, HDVC grid, the desalination plant that we worked about. So I'm not going to expand more. My colleague's going to do it. What I want to talk about, if I may, is everything we've done. Where did it get us? Well, today it got us to having 4,500 megawatt of capabilities when it comes to renewable energies, with a cost of 0.06 cent of a euro per kilowatt. I mean, go look for it. If you find better, come to us. And this also attracted world leaders when it comes to companies. The name you see behind me are but a few examples. You see Renault, you see Nestlé, you see Smurfit, you see Danone. All these companies were attracted because you had the predictability, you had a clear and transparent framework, and also you were able to provide them with the condition to produce in Morocco. Because in many countries it's a challenge, and I understand that, because if you want to go green, you have to make cuts, you have to take different steps. Morocco is probably one of the only countries in the world, thanks to the vision of His Majesty the King, where going green means for companies being more competitive. So that's a heck of an argument for any company. Now, Now, I'm going to address the third pillar, world-class infrastructure. For the last 20 years, Morocco was and is one of the biggest investors in the world. 2/3 of this investment comes from the public sectors. And just to give you a figure, because when I say one of the biggest, 30% of our GDP was dedicated to investment. And it was coming from the public sector. And this is what allowed us to have the first high-speed train in Africa. This is what allowed us to have 18 international airports. This is what allowed us to have a connectivity within the country. And this is also what allowed us to have probably one of the most iconic projects that we have in Morocco is the Tangimet port. And when you have the Tangimet port, the minister was saying before, it's not just a gateway for Africa, it's a gateway to the world. This is the first container port in Africa and in the Mediterranean Sea. So you have the infrastructure, and this allows you to do what? This allows you to build world-class ecosystems. These world-class ecosystems, and to give you just an example, if you take the car industry, which we were talking about before, Morocco has an installed capacity, is the first car manufacturer in Africa, with an installed capacity of 700,000 cars, and we're going to be reaching 1 million cars in the next 2 years. The 2 most sold cars in Europe are made in Morocco. So that's quite a transition for an emerging economy. Let's take aerospace. When you talk about aerospace, today you have Boeing, you have Airbus, but also you have ecosystems. You have more than 140 international companies installed in Morocco, and they're exporting for more than $2 billion each and every year. Just to give you an idea, there is not a single commercial aircraft in the world that flies without a part made in Morocco. All the planes that each and every one of you took to come here, well, you have a part made in Morocco. So this is quite an achievement. And I'm not forgetting about our traditional industry, since I was talking about tomatoes and oranges at the beginning. When you talk about textile, for example, we have partners who trusted us 25 years ago. I'm thinking about Inditex with Zara. We're working with them, and we still value this relationship. And this is how we are helping them address the evolution of the market and of the world demand in the textile industry. We're talking about social accountability, social responsibility of the companies. This is how you can build a stronger relation with the partner. This is how you can maintain it, and this is how we can go a long way. Pharma industry. We had COVID a few years ago. Everyone remembers this time. Well, Morocco managed to become the second pharma producer in Africa, and thanks to the vision of His Majesty the King, we are now closely and quickly becoming the first vaccine producer in Africa. This is what you get when you invest in world-class industrial ecosystems thanks to your infrastructure. But the thing is, you have to connect these people. And you have to create a business environment that's fitting for each and every one. So, and we're proud of it because we're celebrating this year the 30 years of the Marrakesh Agreement, which established the World Trade Organization. Well, we've not been slacking since then. Since then, we've established FTAs with more than 50 countries. We are the only African country that enjoys a free trade agreement with the United States. As a matter of fact, in the world, if you check, you have only 9 countries who have a free trade agreement with the United States and with the European Union, and Morocco is one of them. This is how Morocco established itself as a world-class hub for any company who's looking to address those markets also. Speaking about addressing old markets, connectivity. Connectivity is key. Tangimet is connected to more than 75 countries and 180 ports. You can go by road to Spain in less than 24 hours. You can go to Germany in less than 72 hours. You can reach the United States by boat in 10 days, Côte d'Ivoire in 10 days, and South Africa in 15 days. All this because Tangimet is an integrated port that offers you everything that you need as an investor and everything that you're looking for. Now, going on our next pillar for our journey is our human capital. Our human capital is key, it's important. The median age in Europe is 44 years. The median age in the United States is almost 29 years. In Morocco, it's 29 years. And each and every year, we have 180,000 graduates with scientific background that come to the market. 20,000 engineers, and 42% of these engineers are women. And we're proud of it. But what's most important, it's not the figures, is that all this youth is driven. They are highly motivated, highly skilled, and they're looking to achieve and accomplish great things for our continent. So now, the last pillar of our journey to success is that we are execution-driven. The first thing, you heard it, we established a new investment charter that gives competitive, clear, and transparent process to any investor. And you have up to 30% of your capex with this investment charter. But also what we did is that, what the minister said, is we established a network of economic zones where you can get all your approvals in less than 2 weeks. So whenever you go to Morocco, any industrial and economic zone, you have your approval in less than 2 weeks. You don't want paperwork, we don't want it either. And finally, I'll give you a concrete example to talk about Stellantis investment. Stellantis, we signed the agreement in 2015. By 2017, the industrial zone was already built. By 2019, Stellantis had to ramp up the factory, and they already had more than 60 suppliers around them. So we walk the walk when we talk the talk. This is how you manage to get your investors. So finally, I'm just going to say one thing to sum up. The vision of His Majesty the King puts a clear emphasis on South-South cooperation, and we're eager to go on this journey with all our African brothers and all our partners. Morocco has been growing, and we want the whole continent to be growing at the same pace. And we are working together because there's a lot of things that we can learn from Rwanda. There's a lot of things we can learn from all the countries that we work with. And we have to start changing the mindset. We have to start using our resources in Africa. We have to start building from Africa for the world. This is why when we say it's Morocco now, it's Africa now. Thank you.
Thank you very much.